Hey, Jason,
Yes, Cam. Hi.
what time is it?
It's time for Entertainment Dudes. Welcome to another episode of Entertainment Dudes. I'm your host, Jason Crossman. I'm Director Dude, along with...
Cam Cornelius, and I am Voiceover Dude.
Yes, check out our new lower thirds. We're really moving up in the world. So we're excited.
The lower thirds are down from the bottom. They're not up.
Yes, where you can check out all of our podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube here, you can check out watch.entertainmentdudes.com.
Up on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram.
Entertainment Dudes.
Yes, like and subscribe, all these good things. And this week, we're going to have a twofer this week. We're going to give you a top five where we're going to talk about, we're doing a twofer. We're going to have one podcast with Scott Miranda, which is going to be amazing.
Yes.
And we're doing this top five this week in
Top
entertainment.
The DGA Awards. Thanks to Below the Line for bringing us this list here, the winners list, and the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once claimed the top prize. But let's look at some of the movies, the theatrical features here.
Yeah, we had Todd Field for Tar. I didn't actually see that one.
I didn't either.
Top Gun Maverick. I think I saw that 4 times.
we saw that one enough to make up for all the others, right?
Yeah, I'm partially responsible for it making the billions of dollars it did. I think I'm half of that take that they did. I thought it was spectacular. I mean, that movie blew my mind. So I was really like that. The next film down was Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I saw, and the storytelling, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. But I think two things stood out for me the most. Number one is the actress, Michelle Yeoh, and then two was the editing. I don't know who edited this movie, but literally I can't, like, if I could bow any lower below the ground, I would bow.
The BAFTA goes to Everything Everywhere All at Once, Paul Rogers.
As an editor, I thought there's no friggin' way I would ever have patience to edit this movie. It was amazing.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
Just tell me what I've done to you.
Audience, please help us out here. How do you pronounce that?
Just don't like you no more.
It doesn't even say in the trailer. I actually didn't see this one yet either.
I know.
So.
Inisherin. So leave the comment below phonetically how to pronounce the title.
Or else we're gonna have to ask ChatGTP, and we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that. That's AI, and it's
no. And then lastly, we had Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans, and who was his first AD was Josh McClagan on that, and he's been around a long time. He ended up doing he did Titanic.
On Monday, we have good weather. We will be on either the bow or the A-deck promenade port, scene 72, the bow 94, 96, which will come right back here to the port boat deck to see.
I'm trying to think of X-Men Days of Future Past. So he's worked on a lot of really huge films, and I think they partnered in this. So doing AD work is really hard. And on a project, something like Spielberg's that are generally that epic and huge, the amount of work that takes, that's just impressive. So
Michelle Yeoh, as an actress, she was recently going through some issues where they were saying that she wouldn't be able to act much longer. Let's talk about that.
Well, I think, like she said, there's so many jobs open and available when you're younger, but as you get older, that narrows, and you end up being sort of relegated to side characters, and while someone else takes the lead. But I think Michelle had mentioned here, she got an opportunity to helm this film and to be the lead to it, and I couldn't see this movie without her. Like, I didn't expect her in this film, but she just blew it away. Like. And she even talked about that. Yep. And
Star Trek Discovery, she's done that. She's probably, I believe, going to lead another series about Section 31 in Star Trek. So she's just showing that some of the older actors can actually still have they have it, I guess we're going to say, right?
To me, those stories are far more interesting, and they have so much more depth, and there's a lot of life to it. And I enjoy that character, and I'm like, yes, please put them in more films. Like, I love watching films with characters who've been around a long time, who have a lot of extra knowledge and wisdom and depth to bring to it. So
I think you would love Grace and Frankie, because this had a tremendous cast in it. I mean, legends, Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda. Sam Waterston,
Sheen.
always great.
Yeah.
Martin Sheen, always great. And man, they knocked it out of the park with this series.
And Scott, one of our guests, who's the next, which if you're not going to watch this one, you watch that
Right.
one. He's actually in a part of that, and it's on his reel, which is great.
Yeah, the snow crab guy. So if you
Snow crab guy, yeah. No.
all the outlets now available, there's room for everybody now to continue their career if they want. And these guys are still so awesome.
So this is one means more and nearer and dearer to my heart. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Season 2 is now live, and if you've played Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, it's quite a change from the original, and I think there is some nostalgia for Verdansk, but I'm really feeling the new map. I like how much they've added to it. And then Modern Warfare 2, we haven't seen the huge map yet, but it's been the smaller Japanese map that's in there right now in Japan. And it's really fun. And I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you like the changes? Do you like what they've done to it? I've been really a huge fan of what they brought to the new series. And the ability to swim finally is there. You don't die when you touch the water. I think that's a nice touch.
I think it's your duty to leave a comment down below.
Duty it.
It's your call. Number 4. Let's talk about prosthetic limbs. Yeah, just prosthetic
Just
limbs.
out
Why
of
don't
the
we talk
blue.
about- out of the
Why
blue.
not?
Let's talk about
Why
that.
not talk about prosthetic limbs? Okay, so top films, mine with people with prosthetic limbs that you
Yes.
remember is for me is Luke Skywalker, obviously,
Of course.
and Empire Strikes Back getting his arm. And I loved how when they touched it, the skin, it was like his finger was like, zzz, 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 and then they
Yes,
closed
yes.
his skin up, and I was like,
Oh,
it's-
wait, watch. Let's see here.
Oh no.
Keep going. I got something. So,
No, and his undies.
in his undies in the back to tank,
Isn't
which
he
is
supposed to be in more
evaporated.
water? I was saying, isn't he
Yeah,
supposed to
the
have
back
more
to
water
tank
in there?
evaporate, but you can actually blow on this up here and it bubbles the back to. So,
All right,
but
can you blow the
here's-
bu-
No, I'm
let's
not
see
going to
the
blow
back
on
to.
this because it's like so low. So anyway,
Dude,
yeah,
that's
that's what Luke
incredible.
Skywalker when he got his like prosthetic hand, and I just noticed this though on Luke's hand, he doesn't have the prosthetic hand on here. It's
Oh.
two regular hands. Maybe this
Maybe
is
it's already
worth
got the
something.
skin treatment.
Maybe, instead
Yeah,
of
because he has the skin
blood.
treatment, so you can't even
Yeah.
tell. It like covers his hand.
So
I think
this
that's next one for me would be The Fugitive. The one-armed man in The Fugitive. There's nothing like, he's a man with a prosthetic arm. I said, not crazy. He had a one arm. And he tried to track down the one-armed man. And he ends up getting a fighting him with the arms. I was like,
oh
yes.
gosh. How about I'm just gonna go mainstream here. Bucky Barnes from
Yes.
the Marvel series, right? That arm that he can just.
I mean, this arm only gave him his superpowers. So, I mean, he had the serum or whatever, but his serum
Right.
and his arm combined.
combined.
Who
Yeah.
would win, Luke Skywalker or Bucky Barnes?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well,
The
can Luke have his
Super
lightsaber?
Soldier
If Luke can have his
versus- yeah,
lightsaber,
it's no-
then Luke wins.
It's no contest, And let's see, but okay, how about Edward Scissorhands? What about Edward Scissorhands versus Bucky
I mean,
Barnes?
he was technically the first one I really remember. I Fugitive was first, but Edward Scissorhands. And Edward Scissorhands is one of my favorite soundtracks. So maybe it would go like Luke, Edward Scissorhands, Bucky, the one-armed
Okay.
fugitive.
Gazelle from the Kingsman.
Legs for days
Legs.
with blades on her feet.
Yes.
Okay. I still think Luke would beat her, but she would definitely crush the one-armed man from The Fugitive.
She probably would. And then finally, how about Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road? Though she was
Okay, she's pretty
She was a
tough.
bad A, right? She
So
was-
I still think Gazelle would probably beat Furiosa. And then they'd both kick the one-armed man fugitive, the fugitive. He would lose, and then Bucky, and then Luke.
So would they win, or how about this person in real life?
This is amazing. Okay, this is Abby. Abby show. She does drum. Yeah, look at this. I mean, she literally played the drums by strapping it to her
Right.
arm, tape on
show.
her arm, and then they give her a prosthetic 3D printed arm. And literally, you saw her face at the beginning there when she starts moving it. She's literally in shock.
Right.
And this is all 3D printed, and it works with the neurons in your brain. So you don't not thinking move my first finger. You just think normal. and you actually can
boom.
move your hands. So we're literally here at the time when Luke Skywalker, like, that's real. The level and quality of it is the thing that's left to improve, but it's working. So is 3D
Right.
printed robotic arm, is that the future of prosthetics? I think so, of course. Like,
Yeah,
if you get mobility back, like, she's actually folding laundry. If you watch this video a little bit later, you can see her fold laundry, and she can grab the laundry and fold it over and fold it again with that level of dexterity. I think it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
We're here, and I love how the movie magic makes its way into life. You've got countless illustrations of that with Star Trek, with the prosthetics in the movies like Luke Skywalker, and I love to see this stuff that is thought up in the creative minds of people making movies and then executed upon by the scientific minds that actually
In real
make
life.
this stuff happen in real life. Yeah.
So
that's
what
so
point does
cool.
she qualify as a cyborg? Like, what percentage of your body has to be a machine in order for you to be a cyborg?
I don't know. Does it? I've always thought of cyborgs as maybe having a component of their thought or their brain also being robotic, like being kept alive by the robotics.
So they would
that
have
kind
to
of
be
stuff.
alive by the robotics and
Alive
have
by the
parts of you
robotics.
robotic.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all. What I thought of a cyborg.
Of a
as.
cyborg.
Because
Okay.
yeah, like almost like, well, hey, the Borg in Star Trek, they are cyborgs, but they've got implants that change their thought process and make them a collective mind and do all that stuff. So their functioning as a Borg relies upon the technology.
My dad wrote a book. It was about a kid that was born with a USB port in the back of his head, and he was able to plug into the internet, and he just soaked up and became smarter and smarter and smarter until he consumed all of human knowledge. And he decided that, and then I won't let you,
I'm not reading it unless he changes the port to a USB-C port.
Yeah, I
Because
was like, I
everything
think it
else
was a
is-
USB 3 when he wrote
Yeah,
it.
it's
So
gotta be
USB
C.
3
He's
is
gotta-
not.
Yeah, change it to USB-C.
You always make it some kind of wireless, and that way it'll always be like, and the went through his air into a port in his head.
Wow.
So this next one here, this is on YouTube. This is a guy named Ren, and he wrote this story called Hi Ren. And if you haven't seen this video yet, please check it out. How would you describe this style? I don't know. Rap? I don't know. Contemporary pop? He does some
Yeah.
singing into it.
Yes.
That's how you would
Yes.
qualify this. How would you qualify? And it's this conversation he has with himself, where you have the part of you that's speaking negativity into your life, and you have the part of you that's
Right.
speaking something positive, right? And I think that's one of the major choices that separates humanity from other things is the concept and understanding of right and wrong. And I think there's something even biblical where he says, in that time, I lay before you blessings and curses, death and life. Choose life, because every choice you have, you can focus on those things that are alive, and they lead you towards joy, peace, patience, creativity. And then you have that negative side that if you give it a voice, like what Ren says here, it literally just tears him down and belittles you and tells you cannot do it. You cannot contribute. You're not big enough. You're not enough. And this fight that he has with himself in this version of storytelling, how he tells it, is so profound and powerful. I think it's totally worth a watch. It's 9 minutes, but it's 9 minutes completely worth the watch.
And we live in a time where there aren't a lot of champions for us. If you've got something in your life that you want to do or you want to achieve, there are going to be a lot of people that try to talk you out of it, either because they don't understand it or they like to be doing it and they're not doing it. So why should you be able to do it? So if you do have this inkling of being able to do something, even if there seems like there's challenges in the way, we have those desires in us to actually achieve our desires. They're in there for a reason. So go for it. You don't have to necessarily listen to the people who are trying to stop you from doing it. Even if your life seems like you're running backwards or you're at a standstill, that's all part of the process too. That's a time for you to refresh yourself. It's the winter. It's the winter season where the tree looks dead, but it's really growing underground and getting ready to bloom. the animals are hibernating during this time and healing. Or like when I was a kid, a car like this, a little car, you need to pull it backwards and you need to charge it up and get that potential energy ready so that it can move. That's the fun part. So yeah, there's work, and when things don't seem like they're going your way, use that time to feed yourself, to recharge, to learn something new, because the failure in that case is an illusion. It's just part of the process. It's time for you to recharge and achieve your dreams.
Yeah, and I really learned something, and I applied it this week in my life. I had some negative things that I was experiencing, and it was impacting me in a negative way. And I just said, you know what? Negativity, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, is a form of energy, and you can actually take that energy and put it towards something good. And so I chose to focus on that negative thing and said, I've already done everything in my power to be able to move said block out of the way, but I can't at the moment. But I still have other things that I want to achieve and goals that I have. So even though that negativity was impacting me, instead of moping about it, complaining about it, I just went to my wife and said, hey, what have we wanted to do around the house that we haven't done in a while? Let's paint something. We painted a room. We were organizing stuff or moving things. So and then we went out together, and so I turned that negative into something positive. And I think it's like you said, sets you up.
You went from this side of the battery to that side of the battery.
Yes. Well, the last thing we got for you, number 5.
The Voiceover Resource Guide. This is exciting. This went on a hiatus for a little bit, but
it's back.
Back in late 2022, Jay Preston and Tim Freelander relaunched this resource, and it's very cool because it lists studios and producers and all kinds of things needed for voiceover. So you can get a free copy and scan this little QR code on the screen right now, and that'll take you to the Voiceover Resource Guide. And looking at this, it lists voiceover conferences. There's rates. There's everything from New York to Los Angeles. You've got all the societies, like Global Voice Acting Academy and Voiceover Extra and World Voices. You've got all kinds of resources here: recording studios, casting services, talent agencies. It's all here for you. So if you're interested in voiceover, check out the Voiceover Resource Guide.
Yes, and Miranda Parkin, one of our guests, actually did the cover art for this.
Yes, the cover art. So you can check out Miranda on our current Voiceover Dudes episode, Miranda Parkin and Scott Parkin. It's a blast. They're actually doing a new animation project called the Comet Casino.
Attention passengers, we will be landing shortly on Luperith Omari. Please return to your seats. If you've morphed during the flight, please regenerate and buckle up, okay? And remember, as long as you look like you're gambling, they gotta keep bringing you drinks.
So you don't want to miss our episode.
It's got D. Bradley Baker's done some voice work in it. It's got
Grey Delisle Griffin.
Yes, oh my gosh.
It's got Billy West. I mean, so many great, Maurice LaMarche. So many great names are actually in this show. So you've got to check it out. Again, Miranda and Scott Parkin on our regular episode of Entertainment Dudes. You don't want to miss it.
You really don't want to miss it. It's hilarious. I saw it.
I did too. It's funny.
It is funny. It's amazing what she did. Their idea for that story is awesome.